Benazir Bhutto, Fight for Democracy and Equality. Thesis: Benazir Bhutto, the first and only female prime minister of Pakistan and any Muslim country, took a stand in history in 1988 by bringing democracy and equality to a country where both ideas were previously non-existent, resulting in the empowerment of the Pakistani people. Growing up, Benazir received much inspiration from her father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, for her love of Pakistan and democracy. Benazir also had a very close bond with her father, and he wanted whatever was best for her.
But I'm leaving your Security Council. I find it disgraceful to my person and to my country to remain here a moment longer than necessary. But I'm not boycotting. Impose any decision. Have a treaty worse than the Treaty of Versailles. Legalize aggression. Legalize occupation. Legalize everything that has been illegal till 14th or 15th of December 1971. I will not be a party to it. We will fight. We'll go back and fight. My country hearkens for me. Why should I waste my time here in the Security Council? I will not be a party to the ignominious surrender of part of my country. You can take your Security Council. Here you are. I'm going.
Bhutto and her father's relationship was always filled with a lot of love and a lot of support.
I guess I got so much love from my father. I think he gave so much love to our country and our people that I go back with a sense of great love for my country and with a sense of wanting to do something.
However, on April 4th, 1979, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hung by the leader of, at the time, powerful Zia regime controlled by Muhammad Zia-ul Haq. The entire Bhutto family was very upset, especially since they were not made aware of Ali Bhutto's death until after he had been hung.
I think the question on everyone's minds is, will Mr. Bhutto be hanged?
All I will stress on this, that justice must be done. And nobody is above the law according to my conviction. And justice must be done. It's unfortunate that the person who is involved in this case, who has been convicted, the former Prime Minister, happened to be a politician. He happened to be the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. He happened to be the chairman of the People's Party. But that does not make him or anybody else above the law.
Benazir also learned of democracy after seeing it for herself during her education in the States at Oxford and Harvard University at the age of 16. As an adult, more democratic influences came from people she met, such as George H.W. Bush, Hillary Clinton, and Bill Clinton.
Anyway, she's taking Islamic history in school, and it's been a big. She's a deeply religious child, and she goes to this wonderful school, and she has a lot of Muslims in her school.
Oh, does she?
Every day.
Amazing.
And
That's
in
really...
her class, she loves it, and so we talk about it a lot, and we talk about the relationships between the Quran and the Bible and the common history, and she's educated her mother and quite
because
a bit
we think that all the great religions really have the same message.
Yes.
In 1988, Benazir ran for Prime Minister of Pakistan for the first time. The most apparent reason for her campaign was because Bhutto wanted to fight against the regime that killed her father.
Not to think, the regime tries to make us scared. Our party office was broken into. We received information in the party that an attempt is going to be made on my life. I think it's the regime which tries to instill fear, but I don't put it in my heart. I keep it out of my mind.
It's 9 years since her father, Prime Minister Ali Bhutto, was hanged by the Zia regime. This was the climax of her crusade against the men who overthrew him.
Well, they've tried to rob us from victory, but they seem to have failed.
Benazir won the election easily and ran the country with no help from her husband, Asif Ali Zardari. While she was in office, she broke the status quo by not being the helpless damsel that her husband thought she was going to be when they originally became married.
Then I became Prime Minister, and my husband was very confused because somehow he thought that he was marrying this damsel in distress to protect her against the wicked dictator. And suddenly the wicked dictator was gone, and the damsel in distress was the Prime Minister of the country.
He was
But-
accused of corruption?
Oh, everything. No, kidnapping, 22 murders, corruption, I mean, you name it.
Eventually, 20 months into Bhutto's term, she was dismissed by the president of Pakistan at the time, Ghulam Ishaq Khan. He accused her of corruption, nepotism, and despotism, none of which were ever proven true. Even after her dismissal, Bhutto continued to work and fight for democracy in Pakistan. She would protest the government frequently and would lead rallies and protests. In 1992, she attempted to make a 10-mile march from Rawalpindi to Islamabad. However, she was forced to stop by the government.
I'm calling upon my countrymen to join me. This is not a battle for Benazir Bhutto. This is not a battle for Pakistan People's Party. This is a battle to save Pakistan from the forces of extremism. How can they do this day after day? They can't. How long can they keep these barbed wires? How long can they keep these blockades? Tomorrow these barbed wires will be removed, and tomorrow we will come forth again, and we will come forth again until our demands are met, until our aspirations are met, which is for a democratic Pakistan. We are trying to save Pakistan. We want to avoid bloodshed. We want to avoid loss of life. But I also want to say that if it means sacrificing our lives, if it means sacrificing our liberty to save Pakistan, and to save democracy, because we believe democracy alone can save Pakistan from disintegration and a militant takeover, then we are prepared to risk our lives and we are prepared to risk our liberty. But we are not prepared to surrender our great nation to the militants.
In 1993, she decided to run for Prime Minister of Pakistan for the second time. As before, she won the overwhelming majority and was sworn in. Amongst the good Bhutto was doing, in 1996, her term as Prime Minister was dismissed once again because of her accusations of corruption against her husband. Bhutto decided to leave the country because of all the threats of attacks. While out of the country, the allegations went to court, but the charges were dropped. In 2007, President Pervez Musharraf granted Bhutto amnesty. Right away, Bhutto had hundreds of followers and were waiting for her to come back. On October 17, 2007, an attempt was made against her life at a rally for her. She kept protesting the president even though she was discouraged and kept from doing so by the Pakistani government. On December 1st, 2007, she officially started her campaign to run again for Prime Minister of Pakistan.
It's late afternoon, and a crowd estimated at a few hundred is swarming around Benazir Bhutto's car. A clean-shaven man in sunglasses is watching at the fringes. He's concealing a gun. The man in white behind him is the suspected suicide bomber. The sniper moves in to within a few feet of Bhutto, who is greeting her supporters. He fires 3 shots. The last bang is that of the suicide bomber, blowing himself up. 21 people in all were fatally injured here.
On December 27, 2007, Benazir Bhutto was assassinated. The Pakistani government released 3 separate statements, all of which had 3 different causes of death. People began to point to the president at the time, Pervez Musharraf. This was because Benazir had sent an email to Mark Siegel saying, "Just wanted you to know, if it does in addition to the names in my letter to Musharraf of October 16th, I will hold Musharraf responsible." Musharraf was later convicted of Bhutto's death, but almost no repercussions have been taken.
The prosecution's argument in the Benazir case is that as president, you knew about the threat to her, but you, in a sense, deliberately chose to not provide her the security that she needed. Do you feel any moral responsibility? Do you accept a degree of moral responsibility for Benazir's death?
Not at all. Zero. I mean, I was the one who got an information. I was told by some leaders in the Gulf. Myself, I was told. An emissary was sent to tell me that there is a threat on her. I personally rang her up and I told her there is a threat on you. You must understand.
Benazir was aware of the danger and made future plans for her family.
And she kept on telling us that life is in God's hands. If I die, it's God's choice.
And beg her not to go back.
So I saw her the night before she was going to leave, and she said, she said, "I want to wish you happy birthday in advance." And I said, "Don't wish me in advance, wish me in January." And she said, "I'm wishing you now." And after she was gone, I found this necklace in her drawer. It said, "Happy 18th birthday."
Benazir lost her life just to fight for her country's rights and truly took a stand in history.